Basic properties of Pluto. We got the orbital properties, composition, ice along the surface. Now, it's got rock too. It's actually got a lot of rock on the inside. Apparently, is somewhat differentiated. Heavy stuff sank to the middle, light stuff the outside. Water ice, methane ice, ammonia ice, frozen nitrogen, frozen carbon dioxide, and frozen carbon monoxide. Basically the same stuff that makes up comets. So it is very consistent with being a comet. For the longest time, we really were not in any way able to figure out much about Pluto other than it was a dot. We didn't know how big it was or how much mass it had or anything. And so the real major discovery came when in 1978 James Christie discovers in a ground-based image of Pluto a slight bump on the side of it. That slight bump actually turns out to be a moon. And so that moon was named Charon. Charon being the ferry driver of the dead in the underworld. So again, that fits with the mythological name of Pluto. Hubble telescope eventually was able to resolve that moon a little bit, but the nice thing about this was about every 124 years, as Pluto is orbiting the sun, that moon passes in such a way that it passes in front of Pluto and blocks the light of Pluto. And so when it does block the light of Pluto like that, then you can time how long it takes to get dark and how long it takes to get bright again, and use that to figure out the size of Pluto and the size of the moon. And so it turns out from 1985 to 1990, it did precisely that. So very shortly after he discovered it, very by pure chance, that it was doing this eclipsing sort of thing. And so what they did was that allowed us to figure out a whole bunch about Pluto and the moon, by the way. Because when the Pluto passed in front of the moon, it dimmed light. When the moon passed in front of Pluto, it dimmed light. So either way, they dim light. They did not dim the exact same percentage-wise that we expected, which means that Pluto and its moon are actually made of slightly different stuff. They're different colors. They're different brightnesses. So that was a big discovery right there. But in this timing of it going by, we finally got the first measure of the size of Pluto. So here you see a graphic with some of the things we discovered about Pluto. Now, one thing I want to point out at the top of the graphic is that once Pluto was delisted from the minor planets, it was, or from the major planets rather, it was assigned a minor planet number, 134,340. So Pluto is now 134340 Pluto. The size, tiny, 2,400 kilometers about. And that makes a mass, because once you were able to figure out the orbit, you can use Kepler's law to figure out the mass. Mass is 1.3 times 10 to the 22nd kilograms. That is about 0.22% the mass of the Earth. Not 2%, 0.22% the mass of the Earth. Pluto is tiny. It's about 18% the mass of the moon. Rotation, a little over 6 1/3 days. Rotation, that's how long it takes to rotate one time, and it's tilted a little bit more than 90 degrees. 90-degree tilt would be like rolling on its side, so it's actually a little bit tilted over on its side as it goes around the sun. Average temperature we can find from Wien's law and the radiation that it emits. It averages about 44 Kelvin. At the hottest, it's about 55 Kelvin, and its coolest is about 33 Kelvin. New Horizons spacecraft actually found it had a thin atmosphere, if you want to call it that. The atmosphere is about 1 Pascal. Now, to put that into perspective, Earth's atmosphere is about 100,000 Pascal. So this is about 100,000 times thinner than Earth's atmosphere. Pluto's major satellite is Charon, but it turns out that there are actually a handful of satellites here. Charon is this big thing, and we think that there's several of the other satellites here, Kerberos, Nix, and Styx, and Hydra. Those asteroids, or rather those things, are very tiny. They're little specks here. They're probably chunks of either Pluto or Charon that got knocked off in impacts here. Pluto's Pluto's moon is almost half the diameter of Pluto. So that means it has a major gravitational pull. The result is that Pluto and its moon both orbit around the center of mass of the system. So really, Pluto's moon's not moving around Pluto. Pluto and its moon are both orbiting around the center of mass. Again, this is a big sticky thing in terms of calling something a planet that's not even able to have a moon orbit it. It has to it and the moon orbit each other. Okay, so that would suggest that if Pluto is a planet, then Charon is also a planet. Because they have to orbit one another. So again, this throws a huge monkey wrench into calling Pluto really a moon, or a planet, or Charon a moon. Okay, so these are some of the physical, and this is what Pluto and its moon look like drawn to scale, right here. In fact, these are actually photos taken by the New Horizons spacecraft showing Pluto and its moon to scale. Now, keep referring to the New Horizons spacecraft. So that was the close-up view of Pluto. And so that'll be our next topic to discuss.